Captain Nico Drake stared at the wreckage of his scout ship, smoke billowing against the purple horizon of planet R-7. What should have been a routine reconnaissance mission had turned into a disaster. When his engines failed during atmospheric entry, the twisted metal carcass before him was his only ride home, now completely unsalvageable. "They won't look for me for at least 2 weeks," he muttered, checking his survival kit. 3 days of emergency rations, a basic medikit, and his service pistol. Not ideal for surviving on an uncharted alien world. The planet's twin suns were beginning to set, casting long shadows across the rocky plain. Nico needed shelter before nightfall. His scanners had detected a structure about 2 kilometers to the north, his best chance for survival. As darkness fell, Nico approached what appeared to be an ancient temple carved into a mountainside. Strange glowing symbols adorned its entrance, shifting and changing as he watched. His universal translator couldn't decipher them, but he didn't have many options. His voice echoed through the cavernous entrance. "Anyone here?" The response came not in words, but in movement. Shadowy figures surrounded him, their forms tall and lithe, with skin that seemed to shimmer like oil on water. Their weapons, long crystalline spears, pointed directly at his chest. "Human," a melodic voice cut through the silence. "Your kind rarely ventures this far into the outer systems." The crowd parted, revealing a figure that made Nico's breath catch. She stood taller than the others, her form draped in what appeared to be liquid metal cloth that clung to her graceful figure. Her face was almost human, save for the iridescent scales that framed her eyes and trailed down her neck, disappearing beneath her collar. "I am Sirana, Queen of the Zalarian Empire," she announced, circling him with predatory grace. "And you are trespassing." "Captain Nico Drake, Earth Federation," he replied, keeping his hands visible. "My ship crashed. I'm stranded." Serena's eyes, golden with vertical pupils, narrowed as she studied him. "Curious timing, Captain. Your arrival coincides with our enemy's latest moves against my throne." "I'm not your enemy," Nico insisted. "I just need shelter until my people can find me." The Queen approached, close enough that he could smell her exotic scent, something like cinnamon and ozone. Her finger traced his jawline, claws lightly scraping his skin. "Perhaps we can help each other, Captain Drake," she whispered, her voice both alluring and dangerous. "Be my mate for one night, and I'll spare your world the wrath of the Zalarian fleet." Nico stared at her, confusion evident. "Your fleet? What are you talking about?" Sirana smiled, revealing teeth just slightly too sharp to be human. "Come, we have much to discuss about your world, your fate, and what I require from you." His guards escorted him deeper into the structure. Nico realized he'd stumbled into something far more complex than a simple rescue situation. Whatever game this alien queen was playing, he was now a crucial piece on her board. A royal proposition, the Zalarian palace defied human architecture. With ceilings that curved impossibly and walls that seemed to breathe, Nico sat across from Queen Sirana in her private chamber, the remains of an exotic meal between them. "Let me understand," Nico said, setting down a goblet of shimmering liquid. "Your species is facing extinction?" Sirana nodded, her luminescent scales shifting colors with her mood. "The genetic plague affected our reproductive capabilities. Out of millions, only the royal bloodline remains fertile, and even that is failing." Her eyes met his. "Our scientists discovered something remarkable about humans. Your genetic structure is surprisingly compatible with ours. And you want me to... double quotes. Nico let the implication hang. "To father a child," Sirana stated plainly. "One who would carry both our species' strengths, our telepathic abilities, your adaptability. A hybrid heir to ensure my kingdom's survival." Nico stood, pacing the room. "This is absurd. I'm a military captain, not a breeding specimen." Sirana finished, rising with fluid grace. "I've studied your military record, Captain. Your tactical mind, your survival instinct. These are traits I want for my lineage. How do you know so much about me? We've been monitoring Earth for decades. Your Federation isn't as secure as you believe." The revelation chilled him, and the threat to Earth. Not a lie. Sirana approached, her presence overwhelming. My generals push for invasion. Earth's resources could sustain us for centuries. Only I stand between your world and war. Blackmail, then. Nico's jaw tightened. Alliance, she corrected. One night with me saves billions of lives and continues my bloodline. Nico stared out at the alien landscape through crystal windows. And if I refuse, then you remain our guest until another compatible human is found. Meanwhile, my general's influence grows. Serana stood beside him now, her hand brushing his. The touch sent electric tingles up his arm. There are worse fates, Captain, she murmured, her breath warm against his ear. I am not unattractive by human standards. That was an understatement. Despite her alien features, or perhaps because of them, Serana possessed an otherworldly beauty that fascinated him. What guarantees do I have that you'll keep your word? Nico asked. We will form a blood bond, Serana revealed. A sacred oath that cannot be broken. Your world's safety for your genetic contribution. Nico turned to face her. You're asking me to father a child? I'll never know. Something shifted in Serana's expression. Vulnerability, perhaps? That could be negotiated. Before Nico could respond, an explosion rocked the palace. Alarms wailed as guards rushed in. The rebels, one shouted. They've breached the inner sanctum. Serana's demeanor transformed instantly from seductive to commanding. Secure the perimeter. Protect the captain. As guards whisked them toward a safe room, Nico realized his decision had just become infinitely more complicated. 3 days in the palace had changed Nico's perspective entirely. What began as captivity had evolved into something more nuanced as he witnessed Serana's leadership firsthand. The rebel attack had been suppressed, but tensions remained high. Your security protocols have serious flaws, Nico noted, sketching improvements to the palace defense systems. After military service and 3 interplanetary conflicts, he spotted weaknesses immediately. Serana leaned over his shoulder, her scent now familiar, intoxicating. Most of my military advisors are more interested in conquest than protection. That's your problem, Nico said, pointing to a schematic. Your inner circle is divided. Half want to save your people through peaceful means, half through military expansion. And where do you stand, Captain? Her question held weight beyond simple curiosity. Nico met her gaze. I've seen enough war to last lifetimes. If there's a peaceful solution, I'm for it. Something softened in Serana's expression. That is why I chose you, Nico. Not just genetic compatibility. Conversation was interrupted by Kazan, Serana's most trusted advisor, a stern Zelarian with battle scars crossing his scaled face. Your Majesty, General Varix demands an audience. He questions the human's presence at security briefings. Serana's scales darkened with anger. Remind the general who wears the crown. After Kazan departed, Nico said quietly, Varix is behind the rebel attacks, isn't he? Serana's surprise was evident. How did you, military tactics, these rebels, knew exactly where to strike when your guards would rotate? It's an inside job. She sank onto a cushioned bench, suspected but without proof. Let me help you get that proof, Nico offered, surprising himself with his investment in Zelarian politics. Later that night, as palace residents slept, Nico and Serana moved through hidden passages, following Kazan's intelligence on a secret meeting. Why risk yourself? Nico whispered. You're the queen. My people are everything to me, she replied. I would die for them. Her devotion stirred something in Nico. This wasn't the cold, manipulative queen who had first threatened Earth. This was a leader desperate to save her civilization. They reached a ventilation shaft above Varex's quarters, where the general met with several military commanders. The queen's obsession with this human weakens her, Varex hissed. Once he provides genetic material, he becomes expendable as does she. The child will need proper guidance. Serana's hand found Nico's in the darkness, squeezing tightly. We move after the bonding ceremony, Virex continued. The ancient laws prevent action before then. As they retreated from their surveillance, Nico realized 2 things. First, Serana's proposition was truly about saving her people, not conquest. Second, and more troubling, he was developing feelings for the alien queen that went far beyond their political arrangement. Back in her chambers, Serana turned to him, vulnerability evident. Now you understand everything at stake. Nico nodded slowly, his decision made. When is this bonding ceremony? Battle for the throne. The bonding ceremony preparations filled the palace with frenetic energy. Zalarian rituals involved complex arrangements of crystalline structures and living botanical elements that responded to emotional energies. Nico adjusted the ceremonial attire. Serana's handmaidens had provided a midnight blue garment that shifted colors subtly with his movements, mimicking Zalarian scales. Nervous, Captain? Terran? Serana's personal guard asked. Unlike many Zalarians, she'd been openly friendly to him. Just planning, Nico replied. Their intelligence confirmed Virex would strike during or immediately after the ceremony. Are the loyal guards positioned, as you directed? Kazan commands them personally. The ceremony chamber took Nico's breath. Away, a cathedral-like space, with walls of living crystal that amplified and reflected light in hypnotic patterns. Hundreds of Zalarian nobles lined the path to where Serana waited on a raised platform. She was magnificent. Her ceremonial attire made her appear to be formed of living starlight. For a moment, Nico forgot about imminent coups and interspecies politics. His reaction was purely human, pure attraction. The ritual began with ancient words. Nico's translator couldn't fully capture concepts of unity, eternity, and bloodlines merged. As he approached Serana, their eyes locked. The connection felt genuine, transcending their arrangement. Join blood with blood, essence with essence, the High Priestess intoned. Serana extended her wrist, where her scales parted to reveal skin similar to a human's. Nico did the same. The priestess bound their wrists together with a living tendril that burrowed painlessly into their skin. The sensation that followed defied description. Nico felt Serana's consciousness brush against his. Her fears, hopes, determination all became momentarily accessible. She too experienced his mind, her eyes widening at what she found there. The tendril withdrew, leaving a shimmering mark on both their wrists. The bond, as the priestess's pronouncement, was cut short by an explosion that rocked the chamber. Smoke billowed as armed Zalarians stormed in. Protect the queen, and bellowed as loyal guards engaged the attackers. Virex's voice cut through the chaos. The queen betrays our legacy by diluting our bloodline. The throne must be purified. Nico's military training kicked in. He pulled Serana behind a crystal column as energy weapons scorched the air. The southwest passage, Serana shouted over the battle. We need to reach the throne room. Only there can I activate the royal defenses. Fighting their way through the palace, Nico and Serana moved as one, the bond providing an unprecedented awareness of each other's movements. When they reached the throne room, they found Virex waiting with elite guards. Your rebellion ends here, Serana declared, her regal authority unwavering despite the danger. Your reign ends here, Virex countered, raising his weapon. What followed was a battle that would enter Zalarian legend, the alien queen and her human. Consort against those who would usurp the throne. Nico's combat expertise complemented Serana's command of Zalarian technology. Together, they were formidable. When the fighting ended, Virex lay defeated at their feet. Your sentence is banishment, Serana proclaimed, showing mercy despite Virex's treachery. As palace security restored order, Nico realized something had fundamentally changed. This was no longer about a political arrangement or even saving Earth. It was about Serana, the leader he'd come to admire, and the woman he'd begun to love. The message from the Earth Federation rescue fleet arrived exactly 14 days after Nico's crash. By then, everything had changed. Captain Drake, this is Commander Jackson. We've locked onto your emergency beacon. Extraction in 48 hours. Respond to confirm. Nico stared at the communication terminal in Serana's private chamber, his reflection showing a man transformed. The past 2 weeks had seen the complete dismantling of Virex's conspiracy, the strengthening of Serana's rule, and most significantly, the deepening of their bond beyond political necessity. Aren't you going to respond? Serana asked from the doorway, her voice carefully neutral. Nico turned to face her. Their night together, initially a political agreement, had evolved into something neither had anticipated. The genetic compatibility their scientists had discovered translated to a profound connection that transcended species. What would you have me say? He asked. Sirana approached, the mark on her wrist still shimmering faintly. The truth. Your people have come for you. Your duty calls. My duty. Nico echoed. 2 weeks ago, my duty was clear. Now, ... Medical scans had confirmed their union had been successful. A child, the first human-Zalarian hybrid, was growing in the royal incubation chamber. A child that would save Serana's bloodline and forge an unprecedented alliance between their worlds. Never expected to find a home among the stars, Nico admitted, taking her hands in his. Or to find someone who could understand the warrior and the man. Serana's scales shimmered with emotion. When I proposed our arrangement, I sought genetic material, not ... this. She gestured between them. Not feelings I have no Zalarian words to describe. On Earth, we call it love, Nico said simply. The word hung between them, foreign yet perfectly fitting. What of your Earth? Your career? Your people? Sirana asked. Nico gazed out at the alien landscape that had become more home than foreign world. What if it doesn't have to be a choice? What if I could be a bridge between our worlds? Understanding dawned in Sirana's eyes. An ambassador? Nico nodded. The first official human representative to the Zalarian Empire. I could help establish peaceful relations, trade agreements, cultural exchanges, a true alliance, instead of the conquest your generals wanted. And our child would be born of that alliance, Sirana mused, not merely political expediency. Nico activated the terminal, his decision made. Commander Jackson, Captain Drake responding. Situation has evolved. Request diplomatic personnel, accompany extraction team. Preparing to negotiate first contact protocols with the Zalarian Empire. He turned back to Sirana, taking in her otherworldly beauty and the wisdom behind her golden eyes. Be my mate for more than one night, he said, echoing her first proposition with a new meaning, and together, we'll build a bridge between worlds. Sirana's answer came not in words, but in the press of her lips against his gesture she had learned from him. A human custom that now sealed a future neither could have imagined. When a scout ship crashed on a distant purple horizon, in that moment, beneath alien stars, two species' futures intertwined through the most unexpected of emotions. Love.